Sairam, welcome to the class on Kingdom Monera, Protoctista and Fungi. In today's class, we are going to discuss in detail about Rhizopus, mushroom, and mycorrhizae. In our previous class, we spoke about protists, where protists were classified based on their characteristics, their similarities with animals, plants, fungi, and also multicellular seaweeds. We spoke how animal-like protists were heterotrophic and can move, plant-like protists can photosynthesize, and fungi-like protists reproduce by spores, and then multicellular protists that do not show cellular specialization. In today's class, we are going to discuss about the general characteristics of mushroom. We are going to learn about yeast Rhizopus mushroom, and a bit in detail about Paramecium, and also explanation about mycorrhizae. Fungi are eukaryotes. They are either unicellular or multicellular, and they are saprotrophs which feed on organic matter. Coming to the characteristics of fungi are heterotrophs, that is, they depend on other organisms for their food. They cannot make their own food like autotrophs. Examples of fungi are yeast, molds, and mushrooms. They usually live in symbiotic relationship with plants, that is, they help each other. The fungi take up nutrition from the soil, and this nutrition they give it to the plant, and the plant in turn, under the process of photosynthesis, release carbon which is used by fungi. Thus, the fungi and the plant are both benefited, helping each other, which is known as symbiotic relationship. Fungi and bacteria are the primary decomposers of organic matter. 30% can cause diseases in plants, animals, and humans, so they are pathogenic in nature, and these pathogenic fungi can be resistant to drugs also. This is the phylogenetic tree of the fungi, starting with Basidomycota, which are club-shaped or filament-shaped fungi. Next is Ascomycota, which consists of an ascus or a sac-like fungi. Glomeromycota, which are soil-borne fungus, which live in symbiotic relation with plants. The next is Zygomycota, which sexually reproduce by process of conjugation. Next are Chytridomycota or chytrids, which consists of a single posterior flagellum. Kinds of fungi: Myxomycetes. These are the slime molds which are irregular in shape. Next is Phycomycetes or unicellular, filamentous and branched. Example is the Rhizopus. Ascomycetes are unicellular again. Example is yeast. For unicellular, Ascomycetes. For multicellular branched, there is Aspergillus, Penicillium, Neurospora. Continuing the kinds of fungi, next is Basidiomycetes, which are multicellular and branched. Deuteromycetes are multicellular, filamentous, branched fungi, which reproduce only by asexual means. Example, Alternaria. The last is lichens and mycorrhizae, which exist in symbiotic association with plants. Coming to the characteristics of fungi are eukaryotic. They are unicellular or multicellular saprotrophs. As you see in the picture, they contain something called as hyphae, which are filaments which grow through soil, wood, or any other substrates. These hyphae may be singular or multicellular with one or more nucleus. This is another picture showing the structure of fungi with hyphae. There are several kinds of fungi such as yeast, slime molds, mushrooms, lichens, and mycorrhizae. Coming to the structure of fungi, the cell walls of fungi are made of chitin. A hypha may be divided into cells by partitions called as septa, as you see in the picture. The septa have pores through which the cytoplasm moves freely, and a group of hyphae forming a network is called mycelium. Mycelium is another name for fungus, and fungi are usually extensively used by humans. Yeast Yeasts are also fungus which do not have any hyphae. They are unicellular fungi. They are also eukaryotes. They are usually oval in shape with the width of 1 to 5 micrometers to 5 to 30 micrometers length. They have thick polysaccharide cell wall. Yeast is usually used in fermentation of beer and bread. Mushroom farming and antibiotic production is also a big industry. Structure of yeast cell. Yeast cell is oval in shape. It has a cell wall and nucleus, and because it is a eukaryotic cell, it has a nucleus and other cell organelles like mitochondria. The cytoplasm is granular. It has glycogen and fat globules, and there are also vacuoles, one or more of them, present in the cytoplasm. Nutrition in yeast. Yeasts are saprotrophs, that is, they digest externally and they feed on organic decayed matter. Here, the glucose is broken down into simple sugars by an enzyme called invertase or sucrase, and yeast respire anaerobically, that is, the glucose is broken down into ethyl alcohol where carbon dioxide and energy is released. Budding is the most common type of reproduction in yeast. It is an asexual type of reproduction where a daughter cell emerges from the parent cell. Both cytoplasm and nucleus are given by the parent cell to the daughter cell. Thus, buds are formed. Sexual reproduction also occurs in yeast by the method of conjugation, where two yeast cells fuse together and the contents will divide by one meiosis, followed by one mitosis, which produces 8 cells, as you see in the picture, 8 cells with a thick wall. This structure is called ascus, and each cell in this ascus is called ascospore, and these ascospores may be carried away by the wind, germinate under suitable conditions. This picture talks about the both kinds of reproduction in yeast, both budding and conjugation. As we spoke before, budding, the daughter cell emerges from the parent cell, and in conjugation, as you see in the picture, both the parent cells are haploid when they come together, and because of mitosis, we have a stage where there is diploid cells or diploid chromosomes, and from this, the 8 cell structure, because of mitosis, the ascospore is formed. As you see in the picture, there is a spore. This spore again germinates and gives rise to the new yeast cells. Coming to slime molds. Slime molds are also a type of fungi. They come under the category myxomycetes. They are named as slime molds because of their gelatinous nature. They are naked, creeping, multinucleate mass of protoplasm, and their nuclei are diploid. Coming to basidomycetes, under this phylum we have mushrooms and toadstools. As we discussed before, basidomycetes have filamentous or club-shaped structure. The vegetative part of this is usually embedded in the substratum from which they grow, like the ground or the wood. Once the conditions are favorable, the stalk and the umbrella-shaped mushroom grows out with the stalk and the cap. The next kind of fungus is Rhizopus or bread mold. Rhizopus produces whitish network on a stale bread in warm, humid weather. This whitish patches are called mycelium. They contain thread-like structures called hyphae, as you see in the picture. And the down part is somewhat like an appearance of root. These root-like structures, they grow into the bread, and they secrete digestive enzymes and digest the food or digest the bread. This is extracellular digestion. As we saw in the previous slide, the whitish network on stale bread is called mycelium. How about the grayish black color part? It is called sporangium. This sporangium consists of spores. When the sporangium ruptures, it releases dark colored spores. And these spores are again scattered by wind and when they fall on a suitable substratum, they germinate. So this is a asexual kind of reproduction. Benefits of fungi. Mycorrhizae, they live in association with plants, that is, they live in symbiotic association. The fungi, they give various minerals and nutrients to the roots of the plants, and they get in turn food from the plants. So the minerals thus absorbed by the roots will benefit the plant. And also various antibiotics have been derived from the fungi, especially penicillium, which is very extensively used antibiotic. This penicillium is obtained from Penicillium notatum. It was accidentally discovered by Alexander Fleming in 1927. This picture shows the colonization of mycorrhizae on the roots of plants. On one side there is no colonization, on the other side there is colonization. So on the side where there is colonization of this fungi, there's increased absorption of water, nitrogen, zinc and other minerals. So this helps the plant by increasing the heavy metal resistance to heavy metal toxicity. Then there's decreased root pathogens, foliar pathogens, and there's drought resistance, increased resistance to salt, which is absent on the non-colonization side. Thus, these fungi are helping the plant in its growth. Continuing the benefits of fungi, certain mushrooms such as Agaricus campestris are edible, and also yeast is used for fermentation of bread and beer, soy sauce, cheese and wine. In all these fermentation, yeast is used, and also neurospora has been used in experiments related to genetics. Saccharomyces cerevisiae, the baker's yeast, which is important in baking and brewing, is also important because it has led to the discovery of basic cellular biochemistry. You know why? Because the scientists felt that it was easier to grow them in cultures and to experiment on them. Because they are unicellular organisms, it was easier for the scientists to work on them than in humans and to get the results at faster rate. The negative impacts of fungi. Fungi affects a lot of plants like sugarcane, maize, cereals, even vegetables. So they suffer the yield especially. Then there's this wheat rust, which is Puccinia graminis, which forms brown patches on the leaves and stems and also decrease the yield and makes it unfit for human consumption. Thus, fungi also affecting the plants in this way impact the economic growth that comes from the agricultural yield. Human and fungi. Fungi are useful and harmful to the humans. On one end, they can cause diseases like ringworm, athlete's foot, ear infections, etc. On the other hand, they're very important because they are the decomposers in our ecosystem as they remove the dead and the decay. Imagine if there were no fungi, what would happen? It would be same like those people who help in our society cleaning the streets or picking up the trash stop working. Imagine all the stink and all the infection that can spread. In the same way, if fungi stop working, our earth would be a menace. Lichens. Lichens are slow growing. They can live for a very long time, for even centuries, in a variety of habitats. They usually live in symbiotic relationship with fungi, algae or cyanobacterium. So in this symbiotic relationship with the algae, the fungus usually gives protection to the algae which lives along with them, and they also absorb water and minerals from the surrounding, whereas the algae or the blue-green algae, they prepare food. So the fungus are protecting them and giving them the water and minerals, whereas the algae are preparing food. Thus, they exchange food and water and minerals. At the same time, lichens are also very important environmentally. They help to increase the soil fertility, they retain the water, provide food. They also act as indicators of air pollution.